A model of school counseling supervision, the goals, functions, roles, and systems model.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Hamilton with Old Dominion University, and this is a break for supervision. Today, I will discuss with you a school counselor in training model, the GFRS. The model will be defined and modeled through short supervision sessions between a school counselor and a school counselor in training. GFRS is an abbreviation for goals, functions, roles, and system.
The GFRS was created as a means to supervise and prepare school counselors in training for the multifaceted responsibilities they are expected to fulfill in their internships and careers. I describe the components of this innovative model within the context of school counseling, specific duties, and supervision needs. The GFRS is presented in a pragmatic fashion to illustrate how it can be used to guide school counseling supervision and delineate the interactions of individuals and systems in the supervision process. To reflect competent, judicious, holistic, and ethical training and preparation of school counselors, school counseling specific clinical supervision is critical. I will discuss the theoretical foundation, the suppositions, the conceptualization, and the components of the GFRS. The GFRS model of school counseling supervision draws on the theoretical assumptions of several empirically validated clinical models of supervision. The goals components of the GFRS model draws on the working alliance model of supervision. The discrimination model, with this emphasis on roles enacted by the supervisor, also influenced the conceptualization of the GFRS model. Most influential, perhaps, is the systems approach to supervision model, which incorporates 7 empirically derived dimensions that interact as part of a complex process involving the core factors of the supervision relationship. This model maintains the following suppositions. 1. That supervision is a constructivist process whereby the goals and the subsequent functions of the supervision are determined within the context of the multiple dynamic systems involved in the school counselor training. 2. That there is an interdependent link between the goals of supervision and the experiential activities during school counselor training and internships and the functions of supervision. 3. That shared agreements about the activities, expectations, and optimum outcomes that are negotiated between the university supervisor, site supervisor, or school counselor and the school counselor in training is critical to the successful supervision experience. And 4. Successful supervision is contingent on school counselor in training's ability to recognize and work both within and between the multiple systems in the school counseling profession. According to systems theory, individuals influence and are influenced by the systems to which they belong. System theory also states that ongoing problems are the result of patterns of interactions rather than merely isolated independent incidents. Supervision in school counseling involves multiple systems, thereby requiring supervisors to be aware of such systems and the major concepts of system theory. Central to understanding the goals, functions, roles, and systems model is awareness of the specialized system in school counseling settings that can influence supervision, goals, and interactions. The model comprises of 4 interrelated elements: goals, functions, roles, and systems. These goals include 1. Enacting leadership, 2. Develop advocacy, 3. Successful team collaboration with teachers, 4. Engage in assessment and use of data, 5. Optimize the role of the school counselor, 6. Design and execute individual planning activities for students, 7. Develop and deliver a guidance curriculum that is based on national standards, and 8. Master brief counseling skills in crisis.
I think it would be a great idea if today we could use our supervision time to review some of the goals we previously co-constructed for your practicum. What I will rely on is for you to tell me what interest you have, and I will discuss with you the specific areas of need the school has at the present time. Does that work for you?
Yeah, these goals look great. They all seem like things I would like to learn. I can't, I could probably start the bulletin board and the academic growth group pretty quickly if you like.
Sounds good.
The functions of supervisors during supervision evolve from what is required to assist school counselors in training with the accomplishment of individualized, established, and co-constructed goals. The proposed 5 functions for supervision are monitoring and evaluating, instructing and advising, modeling, consulting, and supporting and sharing. These functions can be used by school counselors and university supervisors who are supervising school counselors in training, yet this would substantially differ from their use in clinical counseling supervision. School counselor and university supervisor roles should focus on facilitating the accomplishment of co-constructed supervision goals, be selected to support the functions and sustain the goals and functions of supervision in response to the multiple systems. The Gfrs model proposes 5 primary roles for the school counseling supervisor: evaluator, advisor, coordinator, teacher, and
My
mentor.
role as your supervisor should focus on facilitating the accomplishment of the co constructed goals. Those are the goals we worked on together.
Mm-hmm.
As well as support the functions and sustain the goals and functions of supervision in response to the multiple systems. So, at various times, I will play the supporting role, the role as an evaluator, an advisor, a coordinator, a teacher, and sometimes a mentor.
Right.
The major elements of the systems perspective can be used to avoid developing problematic patterns of interactions that can thwart the effectiveness of success of supervision. These systems involved in school counseling are critical factors in the development of school counseling specific supervision goals. School counselors in training are now joining these systems, undoubtedly influencing the co-construction of goal setting in supervision.
I know we identified teaching study skills and tutoring strategies to parents as something I can do in response to the data examined. However, I'm really lost in how to prepare for the content for the academic growth group. I don't even know where to start.
That's okay, don't worry about it. We will process the planning of the growth group so you will be entirely prepared. I have noticed that you have a real need to be prepared at all times. Please know, as a school counselor, that sometimes we need to be flexible. So you will need to identify specific times where flexibility is in order. Why don't we coordinate with your graduate program and make sure you're using the best educational intervention? After we develop the content, I can run the first group and you can run the second with me assisting and giving you feedback. What does that sound like?
That sounds great. I feel much better.
Thank you.
The table illustrates the relationship between school counseling supervision goal areas and the subsequent functions, roles, and systems according to the GFRS model. So looking at the last line regarding the goal of delivering a guidance lesson, the supervisor gives support and sharing prior to the guidance lesson, and the function of monitoring and evaluating occurs as the supervisor assesses the school counselor in training's performance while giving constructive feedback. The supervisor's roles would be advising and also include coordinator because he or she sets up the class or large group for the lesson. Teacher because he or she is instructing the school counselor in training on designing the guidance lesson, and evaluator because he or she observes the delivery of the guidance lesson. The systems involved would include the school, school administration, teachers, students, university counselor ed program, and the school counselor in training.
Yes, these are great ideas, especially the academic growth group. With the growth group, it will require you to screen the students, and our school has specific requirements for parents' permission. So please keep that in mind during your program planning. In the meantime, let me show you how I did it for the program and the growth group I'm running. Then we can look at our school data and needs assessment results to identify some specific needs in order to determine the best approach to your idea. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
This has been a break for supervision. Thank you.